Hey everyone, I thought I'd give you a little sneak peek on the way that I'm lighting the room here for Sing It Live. We love to make the videos look easy, but behind the scenes there's just so many little moving parts. Today's video is about lighting. Now the very first set of main lamps I have in here to add colour and light are from IKEA. That's these guys here. They're actually a bulb, a Bluetooth, a wireless controller here for them, and you can run a bunch of them. So I've got 4 of them here running. These are just bulbs only, and the other 2 are in lamps. So in here I can sort of get any, I can't get green, which is probably good because green's a terrible color in here. And you can just swap them around, and you can dim them down a little bit as well. So they give me a base color, and I can sort of switch on and off or just use the front pair if I like. So that gives me a cool little base worth of light. And I'm using these guys here. Now look, they seem a little bright behind here. So this is a Viltrox L116T. This is just a cheap little light that I bought on eBay. It's running on a battery. Now these are just cheap copies of the real battery. I think they're made by Sony, from really white light to very, very warm light. So, that's chosen by Zoran, our camera guy, so he can choose to add more color into the face of the singers or take some out. So that's a very important light. These guys are on the corner, and they generally sitting right in the actual opening here. So one there, one on the other side, and one right in the middle. Now, being a recording studio, I have these acoustic panels right above me to stop the sound bouncing off the roof and coming back to my ears. It helps me mix accurately in here. So I put these in when I first bought the studio, and I'm just using an iRig clamp to clamp up here and hold that light in. So this guy here is similar to the others as well. So it's a Viltrox as well, 132, I think it is, and L132. So these guys are hanging upside down, of course, but same thing, same battery applies, and it's just a little bit wider. So it's above the camera, just above the camera here. So it's shining light directly. Well, it's not too close to the singer, but it's pretty close. It's almost like a camera. That light is attached to the camera sort of thing. So it follows the singer or, whoever's in the middle. So that's the main lights I use. On the poles here, I use what we call birdie cans. I think these are par 16 birdie cans, little ones, because I didn't want to bolt or muck around too much on this pole, because we're in a basement under the house here. These poles are actually metal poles, and I think they'd be 90 mil poles, and we've clad them with wood and stained the wood so they look like wooden poles. So I can't get away with having poles that's holding up my house. So these I didn't want to, I can't drill all the way in because there's a steel pole inside there anyway. So I just wrapped it around with some hoop iron. It's a bit rugged there, but I can just sort of tighten it up like that, run the cables up the back, and there's my 2 little birdie cans. Now, I put those in way back when I was doing HSCC in here, because Steve Todd, the percussion player, was playing here in the corner, and we could never really see him. It was a little bit blurry and dark and stuff. So I put, 2 over here, 1 sort of shining into the kit. Now I use another Viltrox on the kit all the time, and I use a bunch of these little Ulanzis that are RGB lights. So you would have noticed these guys. 1 on the other side, these are just held with clamps, and 1 that I sit on the floor underneath the tom. So these guys are running RGB. I set them on a color. It's on 27% brightness. So it's on 32 degrees, which is the color I've chosen. And I can just put it on. These guys, the batteries last probably about 4 hours on these things, especially when you've got them down to 27%. So I just run around with a battery bank, just like this, before the session, and just pop a battery bank on them for an hour or so each the day before, and it just charges them up fine. So that will give my drum kit a nice little, I've got a few of those as well. So I can always put one under the keyboard or on top here. They're all battery powered, so I do have to keep them charged. And that means that before every session, I have to make sure all of my lights are charged, especially these guys. Now, I was looking for a wand type or a pole. This is the VL110. I've got quite a few of these now. I think I've got 6 or maybe 7. Now these guys here are RGB as well. Now these are magnetic too, so I've clipped 2 together. They can just clip together, and they're magnetic on the back, so that just holds onto the pole here. So I think the last time I ran these were a couple of different colors. I'll just turn them on. So there's the 2 colors I had on the last video. And you can join a whole bunch of these together. I love these things. They do last for about 3 hours, maybe 4. I never run these at 100% brightness because it's just way too much. So these are actually set on 40%. And because they are magnetic, I can always put one on the mic stand in front of Jan or Crafty or Cam when they're playing guitar to shine a light on their guitar. And because it's black at the back and magnetic, you can't see the light source. So very cool little light in what I'm doing here, and all of my mic stands are made out of steel, so they just go straight on it. Now the front lights here, I got these guys. This is a Sidande RGB light. It's an RGB X2049. Now I got these guys mainly because they were a battery bank as well as an RGB light. Now I've been running these guys at the front, also on clamps, just clamped to the rack here, and these guys have been fantastic. So one color one side, one the other. Definitely don't go red here. That sort of soft yellow and a purpley color works pretty well. So that's just a bit of an offset. You can have 1, 2 or none, but I find just a couple of little additions of color. Also have a little bit of a LED strip here under the piano lid. Now that's a pretty cool little strip. I've got a little remote here and I can change the color, and it comes with an app as well, so you can do it Wi-Fi and things like that. I can turn it on and off when I'm not home, which is really cool. And that I've had the piano open, like completely open with the front off as well, and that looks really cool. So the piano color, these little offsets in the corner over here. I have also run a little stick here that's just a corner pole. You know, they're not expensive, but I can also change those guys into whatever color I want. That's been pretty handy because from the back, it sort of balances out when you've got the color on the piano. You can have one on the back as well. The basics are little things to highlight things like drums that are in the distance, give you a little a sense of distance. On the poles, 1 or 2 of these lights to give us a different color, perhaps something that's representing the original film clip or some color that was in the actual color palette of the brand at the time of the song. And having a dark wall means that pale things or the faces here are much clearer. So there's my light rig. It's forever changing, and this is how it is today. It'll probably be different in a month's time. There is more expensive rigs. Most of my little light pieces here are under $100. Most under 50, really, Australian dollars. So they're not expensive, and it's good to have the flexibility of clamping them wherever you like, and putting them wherever you like. So I don't like lights to look like there's lights everywhere. So I don't like the big ones on stands and things like that. It's just like, to me, like wearing headphones. I'd rather wear little buds and IEMs and keep it looking natural for you guys when you're watching the video. So I hope this is helpful to anyone who's trying to set up their own lighting. I am an amateur. I'm just learning as I go. And what I've showed you today is just stuff that I've learned out of screwing up, really. So, but I know I'll be able to help some people, or maybe you'll just find it interesting just to have a look around, look at my nerdy face perhaps. Until next time, it's Darren out of here. See you later.